Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Rebel News live stream on this, a Tuesday, October 19th, 2021. I'm David Menzies, and my co-host, let me tell you about my co-host. She goes by the initials SGR, which could stand for Super Great Rinse and Repeat, but it doesn't. She is the she-devil with a sword. She is the Khaleesi of Northern Alberta. She is Sheila Gunn Reid. How you doing there, Sheila?
David, I'm great. And just as you were saying that, I was thinking, you know what, how do I isolate you screaming Khaleesi and then make that the tone that I use when you text message me, so that when I get a text message from David Menzies, my phone just screams Khaleesi at me. I think that would be wonderful.
I'm sure there's a way. I don't know what the way is, but I'm sure one of our trained broadcast professionals here at the Rebel News Team headquarters can help you out on that. And probably an explanation of cryptocurrency. Heard on the radio that Bitcoin is at a 6-month high. You know what that means, don't you? Because I don't.
No, I don't. What does it mean? I have no idea. And I know I should learn. And please, I know everybody is so helpful. I'm being polite, helpful when they really are trying to teach me all about cryptocurrency. And finally, now that we are done, the never-ending cycle of elections here in Alberta, I can take a moment to learn about cryptocurrency. Yes, last night were the Alberta municipal elections, where the real winners were obviously the Parkland Institute and the Pembina Institute. Those are two major left-wing think tank groups, and they get a lot of grants from municipalities to tell them how to make recycling even more inconvenient and even more expensive. That's what they seem to do. So that's what voters in Alberta voted for in not only the major municipalities, but sort of across the board. I was making notes as we started, the possibilities for the future of Alberta. Of course, people in Calgary and Edmonton voted for net zero rainbow sidewalks, more drag queen story hours in the public library, more useless but dangerously toxic solar panels in the River Valley, in a place where, at least in Edmonton, you get maybe 6 to 7 hours of daylight in the winter. And of course, as I pointed out, more expensive, but also more inconvenient recycling programs. That's what happened last night. Edmonton went further left, if that were even possible, and Calgary moved full left. So that's what we're dealing with here in Alberta.
Sheila, let's dwell on that question. How is this possible? I mean, I think I'm confident in stating that Alberta is the most conservative of all the provinces and territories in our Great Dominion. How is it that these leftists get into such a hotbed of conservatism? Or is it a matter of there's so many candidates on the right, the vote is split? I mean, can you unpack this for us?
No, that's actually not the case in this instance in Alberta. In Edmonton, there was one conservative on running for mayor. There were two conservatives on city council. One of them, Mike Nickel, was running for mayor. The other one lost his seat last night. And in Calgary, it was Jeremy Farkas, sort of the lone conservative. Some of the votes he might have earned went to another sort of center of the road candidate, and the far lefties just owned the day. And I think this has a lot to do with, well, there's a bunch of factors here, but conservatives a long time ago sort of walked off the field of municipal politics. I don't know why, because it should be evident now more than ever to everybody why you need conservative politicians at the municipal level. This patchwork quilt of restrictions that hammered you in your community, that came from your municipal politics. Jason Kenney did it to us after the fact, but your municipal politicians were introducing mask restrictions long before the provincial government ever did. And they were the ones begging for a vaccine passport.
Yes.
They were the ones asking for it, writing letters to the province. That's why this stuff matters. And it is your biggest single tax bill usually that you write every year is for your property tax. And yet they can't pick up your garbage. The potholes are knocking the earrings out of your ear and your hubcaps are rolling into the ditch. And you're like, what am I paying all this money for? That's why municipal politics matter. If you don't have civil libertarians at the municipal political level, then you have more restrictions. That's just how it is. But conservatives have walked off the field of municipal politics. We had one lone guy running for mayor in Edmonton, Mike Nickel, good conservative, worked his butt off, but he was alone. Where were all the conservative activist groups to help him along? The left has all these organizations at the municipal level, all the way up to the federal level, to get the vote out, to organize. We don't have that as conservatives. And I say we as somebody in the broader conservative community. There's none of that at the municipal level, save for Save Calgary in Calgary. And they're just on a shoestring budget. And I think also besides that, and I'm on a bit of a, as David would say, a tangerine, I think our conservative municipal politicians suffered because of Jason Kenney's extreme unpopularity. And so normally in another time, in the before times when Jason Kenney was immensely popular, I mean, during federal elections, the party would deploy him to ridings all over the country to get the vote out, particularly the New Canadian vote. He great job at outreach to New Canadian communities. Jason Kenney, immensely unpopular. So there was no like, hey, the provincial Conservatives are also going to show up and help Mike Nickel or Jeremy Farkas door knock and throw their popularity behind these guys. They are immensely unpopular right now. And I think our municipal conservative politicians paid greatly for that.
Wow, that does not forebode well for Premier Kenney, Sheila. You know, I saw one poll on the weekend. I have a hard time believing it, but it was basically the premise is if there were a provincial election held in Alberta today, right now, you're looking at an NDP majority. Is that actually legit, Sheila?
It's a strong possibility, and it's not because a lot of the support has shifted back from the Conservatives to the NDP. It's just shifted away from the Conservatives. Some of it, but very little, has gone to the NDP. It's just a complete and total collapse of the UCP support. It's going to some of the separatist parties and some of the smaller fractured parties. And there's a lot of people who are saying, I'm a conservative, but I can't vote for that guy. I can't vote for that party with that guy in charge. So I'm just not going to do this at all. And just to bolster my, I guess, my reasoning for why I think that the conservative municipal politicians paid dearly for Jason Kenney's unpopularity, I think it can be reflected in the equalization referendum that was also on the ballot last night. So we had a question of whether or not basically we should withdraw from the equalization program. And even in Calgary, that went left, they voted in favor of re-examining the equalization program. And so that's like a meat and potatoes conservative concept that we are basically getting screwed over by Confederation and we need to rethink how we're doing this. In Calgary, even though a progressive, like far left progressive, won in that city, 58% of the voters so far, we're not going to know for about another week for sure. 58% of the voters cast a yes vote for the equalization referendum, which asked if the equalization program should be removed from the Canadian Constitution, compared to 42% who voted no. And the yes side got even more popular once you got out of the hellscape of the major municipalities. So 70% in Medicine Hat, Red Deer 69, pretty close to 70%, Lethbridge, which has a pretty strong left-wing contingent because of the university there, still nearly 60% voted in favor of removing equalization from the Constitution. So that tells me that there is a majority of people who are conservative in these cities, or at least conservative ideas appeal to them, but they just couldn't get behind a conservative politician.
Wow. I was distracted by the byline on that story. Tyler Dawson. Is that the same Tyler Dawson?
Yeah, he's
like, hey, man, we're like banning you, man, from the election.
Yeah, that's the guy that had the witch hunt for me and Key and Bexty. They held like a witch trial, but even at the witch trials, they let the witches show up. We didn't even get to show
Sheila,
up.
I want to go back, by the way, to your original point. And to me, it's uncanny that traditionally, and I don't know what the voter turnout was in Alberta for all the municipal elections, but it tends to be low across the board, certainly lower than federal and provincial elections. And yet, to your point, I don't understand that, because when you think of what municipal politicians are responsible for, it is the stuff that affects you in your day-to-day daily life. Garbage pickup, the waterworks, road paving, public transit, you name it. These are all things, important things that affect citizens on a daily basis, 365 days a year, and yet there's such apathy, and even more apathy, I would suggest, when it comes to voting in school board trustees. It seems that nobody does their homework with those cats, and increasingly, we see things getting weaseled into the curriculum by far left school board trustees. And you know what? Makes sense to do a little research, because these are the people that are going to be responsible for the curriculum that your children are going to learn from.
Yeah, again, that goes to my point. Why aren't conservatives paying closer attention to these things? We are worried constantly about the culture war, but we start fighting the battle when it's long over. We need to deal with these culture war issues. If we're worried about what our kids are being taught in school, it starts 3 years before at the school board election. It doesn't start when you get the critical race theory letter home from the teacher. It starts way before that, but the battle's already fought and won, and we lost by the time we even figure out what's going on. And that's why I think conservatives, we really, as a movement, need to reset and get involved at the municipal election level. I mean, my riding, my municipality, I guess I should say, went back to Rod Frank. He's the failed Liberal candidate who lost to Garnet Jennis. So, as is with Liberal politicians, they can fail up or down. He failed down into municipal politics. He's been reelected. He's a locker downer. I guess I wrote in Dave Quest's dog on my ballot, but it didn't win. So wow. It's just crazy. Amarjeet Sohi is the mayor of Edmonton now. Liberal cabinet minister under Justin Trudeau, the anti-oil, anti-pipeline Liberal cabinet minister under Justin Trudeau. He lost in the federal election to Tim Uppal in Edmonton Mill Woods. Tim's the conservative there. So Amarjeet Sohi, he was on city council. He ran for the Liberals. He won for the Liberals, and he lost for the Liberals, and now he's the mayor of Edmonton. So it's just this vicious cycle of progressives just landing back into politics and controlling your lives. So here's the thing, Edmonton, you just voted for Justin Trudeau's green energy policies, but they're going to cost you more because you don't have the policies spread out over the breadth of the country. It's coming just for you on your municipal tax bill. I
am absolutely astonished with what you just said, that somebody who is anti-oil gets elected as mayor of Edmonton. That's like a candidate, in Sudbury, Ontario, being anti-nickel mining and getting elected in Sudbury. This is astonishing. Sheila, I know you've explained the background and the rationale for why these disasters are happening, but at the end of the day, I still can't believe it.
Well, and there's another layer with Edmonton, and as it's always been, it was decades ago that Ralph Klein said that Edmonton is a nice city with too many socialists and mosquitoes, and some things are evergreen. That remains true, and it has a lot to do with the fact that it is the seat of government. A lot of the government workers there, the public sector is sort of housed they're in a hive, and so they vote a certain way. And so, I always say we should probably just District 9 Edmonton. It's culturally incompatible with the rest of the province. There are good people in Edmonton. Let's evacuate them and build a wall.
Well, you know what, Sheila, I see Mr. Producer has done incredible due diligence. He's given me a sheet which indicates what's YouTube safe and what's not YouTube safe. That would be good. COVID content. Yes, he says, remember to call him AD. And I see that, we have 3 short videos, speaking of Sohi and Gondek. Why don't we run those, guys? And we'll come back. And when we come back, maybe we'll have to say goodbye to all of our people on the YouTube platform because, we've already been demonetized for no reason. We don't want to give them a reason to actually deplatform us. So I'll take AD's recommendation that these 3 videos are indeed YouTube safe. Crossing my fingers. Take it away. Oh, we have a little bit of a weird clip. Why don't we go to...
Hang on. Why is he wearing a mask holding hands with his wife? They live together, right? And then, he bumps everybody's hands, and then he goes to hug that lady. So you're mugging your body all up on this lady, but aren't you? Apparently, you're scared of COVID. And everybody, no doubt, everybody in that room was double vaxxed, but they don't have confidence in their vaccines because they're all wearing masks. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm going to get us kicked off of YouTube. I have to stop. I have to stop talking about this.
Well, we've got a little bit of a corrupted video there. So why don't we go?
A sign of things to come with Sohi, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, jeez, good one. How about we go to Gondek's daughter, who reads a weird speech at the celebration.
These people are a cult.
Okay, as you know me, I'm the mayor's child. If you don't, we look exactly the same. And I have written a poem. So this goes to my mom. Jyoti, a small flame. To understand a woman, peer into their soul. Do you see the flame of courage within its steel cage? A woman is quiet, humble, and agreeable, they say, with the delicacy of charred sage. But when do you really see her spark? When does the cage succumb to the orange flickers of fire? Despite the flame being nothing but a lit candle in the dark, it is what guides us through life. A woman, brave, resilient, and independent, is what truly brings light into this world. Jyoti, a small flame.
Visually, Sheila, it looks like the tryout set for the Wiggles or something like that. I mean, it looks super cartoonish. What do you make of that?
Ready, steady, Wiggles.
Why is the daughter giving a speech? Or I guess in this day and age when Sophie Trudeau sings songs at official gatherings, anything goes.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, first of all, we don't even know if that's the mayor's daughter because she never called herself the mayor's daughter, and we're probably misgendering her. She said, I'm the mayor's child. Oh,
I'm so sorry. I thought she resembled a woman or a breeder, a breeding person.
I don't know. I'm just saying that we're just setting the stage here. And I make no comment. It's something I noticed and immediately wrote down. But I'm a mom. I think my kids are the best, right? Like everybody thinks their kids are awesome. They're the best. But that's something you post on your Facebook page so their grandma can see. It's not something that you put out as like your campaign acceptance speech. Like, yes, of course, bring your family up on stage. Politicians do that all the time. I like to see their families. I think it's kind of neat. It makes them look a little bit normal. But that wasn't normal. Like I said, my kids are always like making fun video parodies and doing stuff like that. But I put that on my Facebook page so my actual friends and relatives can see what my kids are up to. I wouldn't make it part of my acceptance speech when I became the mayor. I just think it's kind of weird, right?
Poor Calgary.
Poor
Well, Sheila,
Calgary.
let's go to the rest of a very weird victory speech.
Your new city council will advance the labor force participation of women by ensuring that we attract capital to Calgary for female entrepreneurs who are rising stars with ideas that are capturing the attention of global business leaders. We will be steadfast in providing access to safe and affordable opportunities for children's early education and care. And your new city council will make a commitment to climate action because we can and we must.
So gender and climate action, which means putting further restrictions on the oil sands, are first and foremost in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, from the mayor-elect. And by the way, Sheila, who were those Hollywood Square people behind her? It was so distracting, all those little boxes of people.
It was like little boxes of like, it reminded me of the Justin Trudeau, what's your favorite virtue ad when he did that thing with the ladies like back in 2015, 2014. That's what it reminded me of. These people never have an original idea. But can we stop, please, already? Can we stop with checking all the identity boxes when you become the mayor of something? She is a woman of color. And she's a woman. She's a person of color and a woman. Can we stop pretending like Calgary is this intolerant place? Mayor Naheed Nenshi was the mayor there for 11 years. I mean, he's a Muslim man of color. Can we just stop pretending like Calgary's a city of bigots? They don't make good voting decisions, municipally speaking, if you care about fiscal issues, but they really don't. They're not a bunch of bigots, like to say like, I'm going to increase labor force participation of women. How? By raising taxes so that businesses don't move there and create jobs for women. Like my women's issues are property tax issues that's how you get women to participate in the labor force, is if there's a job there for them. And if you're not taxing the job creators to death, but Then she goes on to say that she's going to make a commitment to climate change and climate goals, which sounds like a municipal carbon tax coming their way.
Sheila, what's the over-underline before Calgarians start to get misty-eyed for ex-mayor Nemshi, given this person's immediate words and narrative and what her policies are going to be moving forward?
I think it's just going to be an extension of Mayor Nenshi's policies.
I think it's going to be worse.
Well, it could be, but she's saying a lot of the same things that Nenshi did. She's just saying it with a different backdrop and a pink-haired daughter, which I don't think Nenshi had. I think the people in Calgary pretty quick are going to get misty-eyed for the days of Mayor Ralph Klein. I think that, and it's hard to believe that not only did we have Ralph Klein as the premier of this beautiful province, just calling a spade, but he was also the mayor of Calgary, and before that, a broadcaster in Calgary. So back when journalism was different, municipal politics were different, and provincial politics were much different.
Could you imagine what Ralph Klein would say if he were here today, Sheila?
I think he would be canceled. He probably would be just canceled right into next week. He would say one thing, we would all be like, yeah, Ralph, that's great. That's exactly what we were thinking. And then the mainstream media would be like, burn the witch, get rid of him.
Yeah. I meant that, of course, in the context of what he would say in a personal conversation with you. There would be no platform for him, even in Alberta.
No.
I am absolutely stunned. Sheila, we have to, I see with the other subjects, they're too hot for YouTube. So we got to give...
We never even told people what we were doing here. We're 24 minutes into the show.
You know what? Why don't you do that?
Why don't I do that? You know what? Thank goodness we have such smart, well-trained viewers here. 24 minutes ago, I should have told you that this is the Rebel News daily live stream. Used to just be on Friday, just hosted by Ezra. We expanded it to 5 work days. David and I host Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I host with Adam now on Mondays, and some of our other talent fill in the other days. And we used to just be on YouTube, but YouTube completely demonetized us, as David alluded to earlier. So we now also stream on other platforms. And on those other platforms, you can support the work that we do through a tip as a creator or leaving us a chat. And you can do that on Rumble or Odyssey or Super U. Each one of those platforms has the ability for you to support the work that we do, because we'll never take a dime from Justin Trudeau, and YouTube said we're not ad safe and super chat safe. So another thing that YouTube does is they basically tell us what we can and can't say at threat of basically censoring us altogether. So some of those things involve criticisms of public health authorities and lockdowns and the other things that we can't even if we say the word, that's it, probably gone forever. It's the biggest stress in my day, editorially reviewing videos to make sure that we haven't said something that can't get published on YouTube. So I think we're getting into like hot zone territory with YouTube. And so we should probably say not goodbye to our YouTube